So my 7-year-old Behringer mixer that I used for work finally gave out on me, and since I'm fronting a bill for it myself, I went with the cheapest thing I could find. So at 50 bucks, this Q502 USB fit the bill. The question is it any good? Hello everybody and welcome to Tech Uploaded. I'm Chris, and like I said, cheap mixers is the name of the game right now. I was actually inspired to give one of these USB mixers a try when I lost my 7-year-old Behringer, analog mixer that I used for work, and then an old channel I used to do when I had a cooking podcast years ago, in like 2008. And Jay's 2 Cents posted that he had one that I think he got for around 70 or 60, 70, 80 bucks, something like that. And it was USB, and there was, a little bit of noise from being in USB, that was coming through. But overall, he said it did a pretty good job. So when I found this one for $49.99, I thought, you know what? I use this thing so rarely. Why not just, see how this one works out? Because most of the time when I'm recording into a mic, I'm going through my H4n field recorder. But when I'm doing stuff at work, I just want to have something that I can just have hooked up all the time, plug into, and be done. And then if there's ever an occasion where I actually do some kind of like Skype thing or something like that with another YouTube channel or something, it'll be nice to have this around as well. I'll just lug it home real quick. So figured I'd take a look at what comes in the box, see how this thing feels for $50, and more importantly, see how it works and performs and sounds, and does it give out a lot of hiss and background noise? Because I don't know, the reviews seem decent for it. Let's dig in. All right, so first things first. Decent box, a lot going on. On the back here, it's got all of the deets as far as what you get, and then on the front here, it says premium 5 input 2-bus mixer with Xenyx mic preamp and compressor, British EQ, USB audio interface. So lots of words flying at your face with this thing. And then on the back, there's the whole list of everything. So ultra low noise, a high headroom, state-of-the-art, phantom-powered Xenyx mic preamp, studio grade for 50 bucks. Wow, I'm sure it's studio grade. Easy one-knob functionality, built-in USB audio interface, neoclassic British 2-band EQ for warm and musical sound. 2-track input, assignable to headphone output or main mix outputs, high quality components, I should hope so, and conceived and designed by Behringer in Germany. So there you go. But yeah, the box is, lots of fonts and stuff on this box. It's kind of, I noticed stuff like that being in marketing. All right, let's pull this thing out. So the board's obviously very small. Now, one of the things that made this so cheap is, let me get it out of the packaging here. Oh my gosh, there's like just packing tape just like wrapped around this thing. This is gonna be a fight. They didn't mess around with the amount of silica gels they threw in that one. Okie doke, that's kind of ugly. Get that stuff out of the frame. All right, so this is what I was most concerned with. I needed an XLR input, get my face out of there so it'll focus. And that was really it. I needed XLR in and phantom power. My needs were simple. That, and then, having EQ control is nice and all that, but really I just needed that one thing. So I've got it. And then there's the manual here, which is full 8.5 by 11, black and white, classy. All right, set everything out of the way here. All right, this box has been battered a little bit, but it'll be all right. Now this one just has one little small piece of tape over the opening, not the crazy wrap that was on the actual mixer. So you've got the usual power brick, and it is good to see. It's kind of a proprietary connection on this thing, but that's all right because it's actually the same as the one that was on my old one, so that's good. I actually have a backup now. And then of course the USB cable. Let's see how long this thing is. Pretty decent length there. I mean, I'm going off both sides of the camera with it. All right, now looking at the mixer itself, you've got line in for mic, which was the important thing. Line in 2 and 3, line in 4 and 5, main out, and then your headphone monitoring. You got the gain, the EQ, pan for left and right, balance left and right, level, And then of course it breaks out levels again for 2 and 3 and 2 and 4 and 5. You got your phantom power switch, 2 phones, 2 main, phone and main mix, and then you do have your analog tracks in there as well. So yeah, there you go. I mean, not bad. Lots of stuff for 50 bucks. Has a good weight to it. Looks pretty much identical to the one that I had 7 years ago, except this one has USB on it. But yeah, I mean, Behringer, you found something that works and you stuck with it because the design is really pretty much unchanged. So what I'm gonna do now is take my AKG Perception 200. I got a good deal on this thing actually back when I got it, but I'm gonna take this bad boy, hook it up to the board. Got some weight to it. Need to get an arm for that thing still. I'm getting off track. So I'm gonna hook that up to this board and then do some audio recording with that so you'll be able to hear the difference in switching over from this lav to the actual mic, which I actually used in my last video, so you have an idea what this sounds like going into the H4n. Let's see what it sounds like going into the cheap $50 Q502 USB. All right, so I'm now plugged into the mixing board. I've got Adobe Audition opened up behind me recording. Setup was super simple, actually. All I had to do was plug in the USB, go into Adobe Audition and say, record from USB recording device, and boom, there you go. So you've got all the controls on here. I've got my stereo mix and gain and stuff, so I can move things around as far as volume is concerned. And then I can also control how much bass and treble or high and low that I have in my voice. There is no mid on here, which I did have on the old one. But again, I think the old one I paid around 80 bucks for, and it wasn't USB. But overall, I think this is doing just fine. So yeah, it's got a good weight to it. It doesn't slide around on the desk. The indicators for clipping are very easy to read. It blinks red if you've gone too high. So before you even get into your software, you can kind of see how much you're feeding into this. And then surprisingly, I didn't have to change any settings in Windows. Nothing was up too high where it was creating a hiss or any kind of noise or anything like that. So that was really nice. I mean, this literally was plug and play. I plugged the thing in, I went into Audition, and 2 minutes later, I was recording. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be real quiet for a second here just so you can see if you can hear any noise coming through. Other than maybe the sounds of the outdoors and the ceiling fan that's on above me, I didn't hear anything when I did a listening test. Maybe a very, 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 very minute hiss in the background, but not anything you're really gonna pick up on. So yeah, I gotta say, $49.99. Tickle me impressed because this thing fits the bill as long as it holds up. The phantom power was just fine. I'm looking at the board to see if there's anything else on it, but I tried monitoring with some headphones and that worked just fine. So all in all, not a bad deal for 50 bucks. For what I'm using it for, it'll be great. Now, the limitations of this, it does only have one XLR input, so you'll only be mixing in one XLR channel unless you've got another device outside of that that's going to split it out, but at that point, you may as well just pick up the version of this with 2 XLR inputs, which is available, but it's a little bit more and I didn't need it, so I didn't go for it. The only other thing I could see maybe being a concern is my last Behringer mixer that was, in this price point, that the cheap mixers, it only lasted 7 years, but it didn't get a huge amount of use during that time. It got used quite a bit for about a year when I was doing my previous video series or whatever you want to call it, but outside of that, it sat on my desk at work and got used on a very rare occasion. So hopefully this one has some lasting value, but again, for 50 bucks, if it doesn't, I can't really be too upset about it. But for now, it seems to be getting the job done. Well, now I got to find somewhere to put this thing before I take it to work, but maybe just right here on my desk. If I have to use it at home, that's not a bad spot for it. I don't know. I'm kind of picturing my setup here. I've introduced something new, and I've messed up the whole thing. But if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button. You can also follow me on Twitter over at TechUploaded. And if you do have a question or comment or something you desperately want me to see, go ahead and shoot me an email over at techuploaded@gmail.com. And you can find me on the Facebook. I'm on the Facebook. All right, you know the drill. Don't be a stranger. Check back soon.